Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly live Q&A. So as always, any health and fitness questions you have, now is the time to ask them. Just throw them in the comments section. If for whatever reason you don't want to make your question public, you can always shoot us a message. If I don't see it before we end, I can always cover it in next week's session, or we can have a discussion privately in Messenger as well. Understand a lot of things regarding health and fitness people are a little more sensitive to share publicly with, and that's okay. We're happy to cover questions and stuff in other ways too. So what I want to go over while we see if anyone has any questions, it is first week of February. We're in month 2. So we're reaching a point where a lot of people are kind of hitting a struggle point with their resolutions. Either they never got off the ground because making the changes seemed too daunting to start with based upon the program that they were trying to follow for it. They made some good changes, but kind of left feeling guilty all the time because they're not to the point that they set for themselves yet. And rather than feeling good about what they've accomplished, they're constantly focusing on what they haven't done yet. And then one of the last groups, maybe the first month went really, really well. You've seen some great results, but you're getting to the point of kind of feeling burnt out with it, where you're not sure how much longer you can keep going, either because the training program's too intense, either time consuming wise, or just, it really beats the snot out of you on too regular a basis, making it hard to do other things in your life, or the diet's too restrictive and you're realizing that it's hard to socialize. It's hard to have fun time with the family. It's just hard to live your life, period. And you're just wondering how much longer you can stick with the program. And unfortunately, you don't really know what to do next because of that. So expanding on what I posted yesterday, the commonality with all of that is that you're choosing programs that don't take into account your lifestyle specifically. Picking things that are either too limiting on what you're allowed to eat, or too demanding in a function of time, or too intense for what you're currently physically capable of right now. While building up to some of these may be okay, may be great down the line, it's just not reasonable for you to pursue now. It's important to have a plan put together for you that takes into account your current abilities, your current schedule, your current likes and dislikes, both as far as foods go, training, exercise, how much time you have for it, to make sure that everything's actually going to work for you. Because at any point where you're kind of counting down the days to where you just can't wait until this is done, or you're kind of dreading getting started with a program, that program is not really for you. It was designed with someone else in mind. So it's going to be a constant struggle making the changes needed to be successful with that plan. On the other aspect of, because the plan it goes kind of from 0 to 60 straight out of the gate, left feeling guilty because you're, not at the right amount of days that the plan says yet for your exercise, or you're trying to live your life and socialize with your kids, with your friends, with your family. Maybe you're trying to go on dates and trying to eat that restrictively just isn't realistic. You want a plan that works for you, that allows you to still stack some small wins and not feel defeated because you're not doing everything yet. So whatever boat you're in right now, just remember, just because one plan isn't working right for you doesn't mean that it's your fault. It's a matter of, let's find a plan that does work for you. There's nothing wrong with stacking small wins week by week. that's still progress. That still makes changes in the long-term haul of things. A big thing that I try and point out for a lot of people, especially if weight loss is one of your main goals, 100 calories per day, either too much or in a deficit, is enough to have a 10-pound difference every year. And 100 calories a day isn't really that big of a change for you to notice it missing or for notice it there. That's how so many people end up gaining that 5-10 pounds every year without really knowing what happened. So this is where those little wins kind of start to stack up and get us real big progress. So simply just adding, 5 to 10 minutes of walking a few days a week. If you're not doing anything, that's a huge start. Dialing in one meal that you have absolute control over, a meal that you're not sharing it with anyone. It's just you eating it. Maybe it's the one meal that you eat alone. Most people, even in busy households, have one of those somewhere. If you can dial that in and give yourself, a 50, 100 calorie window of success that you're not refilling somewhere else down the line in the day, that's enough to start getting the ball rolling. Are you going to see the scale change week by week, month by month? Maybe not, but over time, it will have its impact, and especially as you start stacking those small wins on top of each other. Adding in a couple more days of exercise, fixing that one meal, and then when those are dialed in, you go to the next step. Maybe we're going to add a couple more days of exercise or add more time to the exercise that we're already doing. Maybe we're going to dial in a second meal, or clean up one of our snacks, or adjust what we're doing late at night so we're not doing some mindless eating that we were. Those little wins stack to create big progress down the line. So it's not always about starting a plan and immediately seeing 5, 10, 15 pounds drop off the scale, or to all of a sudden be able to run 30 continuous minutes, or do multiple push-ups, or see major strength gains in other areas. It's about consistent, steady progression that you follow through with week by week to bring about those changes. This is the reason why I emphasize consistency and persistence, because if you're consistent with anything, you'll get improvement over time. The persistence comes in where you have to be willing to persist through the frustrations when it doesn't feel like it's coming quite yet, or the roadblocks and obstacles that sometimes get put in our way. Do you let them be an excuse to completely stop and give up, or do you persist and see it through to find a way to still maintain that consistency one way or another, recognizing that 1 week or 1 day being off isn't going to ruin anything as long as you find a way to get back on the next. And it's that persistence in pursuit of consistency that makes the difference with these things. So that's the reason why you'll hear me and read on our post that we emphasize habit changes so much, because that's where the habits come into play in creating major change for yourself. So don't beat yourself up. Don't get left feeling frustrated. Let's identify ways that you can make the changes stick, that work with your lifestyle, work with your schedule, work with who you want to spend time with throughout the week or day by day. That way you're not left feeling ostracized or guilty because something's not working, or because you can't make your meal plan fit in with the people that you want to have around in your life. If for whatever reason you find yourself struggle with that, ask for help. It's one of the key things that we do is help people find ways to make fitness, healthy nutrition fit into their lifestyle with it. If you don't ask us, ask another professional. If we can't help you, we've got plenty of other partners we work with. We can get you in the right direction that can. Don't let frustration or guilt or overwhelm keep you from seeing progress this year. Ask for some help. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the reason why we're here. But the most important thing to remember is just small, consistent changes over time will bring about results for you if you see it through. And if you're struggling with that part of seeing it through, that's what we help with too. Accountability is a big factor. and it's okay to ask for help within that regard too. Hope that was helpful for anyone. If you do have questions and you're watching on replay, throw them in the chat. We'll pick them up next week and keep everything going. Hope everyone has a great week, and remember to stay consistent in your persistent pursuit of health.